a symbolic tale of eternal light, rebellion, and unshakable love. Before time began, before the world ever knew silence, there was music, the language of the heavens. From that music came the first breath of creation. The Creator, eternal and boundless, birthed existence through the harmony of His will, and from His will came two of His greatest works, the Word and the morning star. The Word, who would one day be known as Jesus, stood clothed in eternal light, not as a man, but as essence, love itself, truth without limit. Beside Him stood Lucien, the bearer of light, the first of the morning, the brightest among all created beings. He was made of fire and wind, of thought and beauty. His voice could move mountains. He composed the symphonies that sang stars into existence. Jesus loved Lucien, not as a servant, not even as a brother, but with the affection only eternity could understand. Lucien would sit beside the Word, discussing the nature of justice, of beauty, of joy. Together they crafted the framework for time, for galaxies, for life. But love, true love, demands freedom. And where there is freedom, there is always a shadow of rebellion. The thought that changed eternity. It began with a question. If He is all, why not me too? Lucien stood before the mirror of still water in the realm beyond, looking at his reflection. He was beautiful. His wings shimmered with light. His voice could shape the flow of creation. The admiration of the lesser angels filled him. The whispers of you could lead better echoed in his being. He did not hate Jesus, not yet. In truth, he was afraid of how much he admired him. But admiration, when twisted by pride, becomes resentment. Why must I bow when I too carry light? So the whisper turned into fire. Lucien rose. He gathered many who followed him, 1/3 of the host, and declared a new vision. We will not serve. We will rule. Jesus stood silent as the heavens trembled. He did not raise a sword. He whispered instead, "You are still loved." Lucien's heart burned. Love? Even now? He struck at heaven and fell. Earth was born, a realm of soil, of time, of mortal struggle. Mankind was crafted in God's image, and Jesus walked among them in shadows, guiding, waiting. Lucien, now called Satan the adversary, slithered through the world. Not because he wanted it destroyed, but because he wanted to prove it didn't deserve to exist. If he could break them, if he could make them betray their Creator, then perhaps he could justify his own betrayal. But Jesus, who still loved the morning star, became man. He didn't come with armies. He came with humility. A carpenter, a teacher, a lamb among wolves, and Satan watched from the wilderness. If you are the Son of God, he said, turn stones to bread, call angels, rule the world. But Jesus answered, man shall not live by bread alone. Satan snarled, then die, weak lamb. And Jesus did, but not before whispering, Father, forgive them. Even then, he forgave. Even then, he loved. Jesus answered, man shall not live by bread alone. You shall not tempt the Lord your God. You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. Lucien, Satan, looked into his eyes. There was no anger there, no pride, only grief, only love. And that hurt him more than any blade could. The cross and the fire. When Jesus was arrested, mocked, tortured, and finally nailed to the wooden cross, the darkness of the world celebrated. Evil danced, demons roared, and Lucien stood in the shadows of Golgotha, watching him bleed. So this is your end, he whispered. You chose them, these fragile, selfish creatures, over me. But Jesus, even in agony, looked up. Forgive them, he said. They know not what they do. That sentence pierced deeper than any spear. Jesus was not speaking only to the soldiers, not just to the crowd. He was speaking to Lucien. Forgive them. For a moment, the fire in Lucian's chest flickered. A fragment of his former self, the artist, the singer of stars, remembered the warmth of that love. But pride is a fortress, and pain is its walls. So he turned away. The secret Jesus never told what no one saw, not the angels, not the demons, not even the saints, was what happened in the space between Jesus' death and resurrection. For 3 days, he walked the deepest halls of the void, not in triumph, not in rage. He walked through the chasm where the fallen were bound, and there, in a place where light never shone, he met Lucian again. Lucian stood tall, proud, his wings scarred, his eyes sharp. "Come to mock me?" he asked. Jesus walked closer. "I came to remind you, I still love you." Lucian snarled, "I don't want your love. But you had it before you ever asked for it. I spit on your grace, and still I offer it." "Why?" Lucian's voice thundered, shaking the void. "I betrayed you. I corrupted your creation. I tempted your saints. I led the rebellion. Why do you still love me?" Jesus stepped into the shadows until his light brushed against Lucian's broken form. Because love doesn't end when someone falls. Love doesn't stop when it hurts. You are not my enemy, Lucian. You are my lost brother. And for one moment, one eternal second, silence ruled the abyss. Lucian didn't respond. He turned away, trembling, but he did not strike. And that was enough. The eternal weight Jesus rose from the dead. He walked among his people. He ascended into the skies. But in the secret places of heaven, he keeps a place empty, not for kings, not for saints, but for the one he still hopes will return, the morning star. Every age, every war, every deception that flows from hell into earth, Jesus watches it not with hatred, but heartbreak. He knows what Lucien could have been, and still might be, because love, true love, waits. Why Jesus loves the devil. It is not a story of approval. It is not a story of excuses. It is a story of hope. Jesus does not love evil, but he loves Lucien, the being he created before time. Not the mask of Satan, not the destroyer, but the soul beneath the ruin. Because love, at its deepest, doesn't choose based on merit. It chooses based on truth. And the truth is,